Fellow nurse entrepreneurs, one of the things that I've always wanted to do was I always wanted to help nurses work from anywhere, pretty much have the flexibility, pretty much have their freedom so that they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Joining VP Nursing was one of the best decisions that I could have ever made. If I was to have a regret, it would be that I didn't join sooner.
If they wanted to be with their children, if they wanted to be with their families, they can do exactly what they wanted to do.
Ola is the type of person, she's not going to let you stay the same. The way she levels up her clients in every area of their lives.
I could not have imagined being a nurse with my own business, being in this space with so many amazing people, with a coach that 1,000,000% cares about what my outcome is going to be.
And so here at VP Nursing, we teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money, owning their own time, building profitable nurse coaching, consulting, and service-based businesses. And so now we're at the beach and we're working at the beach and we're having a great time. We're doing a brand photo shoot. It's an amazing time. So if you want to learn how to work from anywhere around the world, creating that flexibility, creating that freedom for yourself, but monetizing the knowledge that you already have, join us at VP Nursing Business Academy. Hey, everybody. So welcome. Good morning. So this is Dr. V, and we have Dr. Charmaine Duckie with us this morning. So listen, y'all need to like, y'all need to share, y'all need to comment, because Dr. Duckie is absolutely amazing. So first of all, we want Dr. Duckie to tell us who she is in her own words.
So I'm Dr. Duckie. I am the CEO of Duckie Enterprises, where I'm a consultant, and I help primary care and cardiology practices navigate their workflows to be able to optimize change flow, to bring back more revenue to the clinics, and also provide that patient experience. Also a nurse leader and entrepreneur, and as well as a change maker in the nursing landscape.
I love it. And you listen, Dr. Duckie, see, she's got some cups and some swag. Like, you need to go to her website, okay, and just look at her swag and her cups. Anyway, so let's start this out, because this is going to be an interesting conversation, okay? As the scroll across the screen at the bottom, just take a look. All right. So Dr. Duckie, tell us about you becoming a nurse, because why did you even become a nurse?
So I don't have like that amazing story. Like, my grandma was a nurse, my auntie was a nurse. At the time, I didn't have any nurses in my family, but I was just like, I want to be a nurse. That was probably roadblock number one, because while I said I wanted to be a nurse, my behaviors didn't align with what being a nurse meant. So like at family functions, if someone passed gas or there were body fluids, I was down, I was out. But I still said, I'm going to be a nurse. Like, I remember my grandpa sticking his finger to check his blood sugar, and just seeing that little bubble of blood stick to my stomach. And then I don't know what happened next, but still said I was going to be a nurse. So get to nursing school, and my family is very supportive. Nursing 1A it was all paperwork, just the basics, understanding what nursing was, foundations, how you bathe a patient. But there was no hands-on experience, no clinicals yet. So family is very supportive. Now we get to 1B. 1B was 7 weeks, I remember. And you started clinicals in week 2. So explaining to my family, like, I'm going to go to do clinicals. We had a surgery rotation. We're going to the nursing home. We're going to do bed baths. And they was like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like, it's okay to back out now. And I was like, no, I really want to be a nurse. Like, I'm going to be a nurse. I said it with my chest. So now we get to week 2, and there were 2 experienced LPNs. One was an LPN for 33 years, and the other was 23 years. I cannot remember their names, but I remember like, I'm gonna go last. So the us 3, we get on the bus, we get there, and they're like, make sure you eat so that you're ready during the surgeries. The first lady goes in. It was not long. She comes out in a wheelchair, and I was like, oh, okay, well, Second lady goes in. She comes out in a wheelchair. And in my head, I'm thinking, I remember my mom said, make sure you put my cell phone number folded up in your pocket, in your pants. So that way, if you pass out, they're going to know to contact us. And I'm like, oh man, like, do I cop out? What do I do? So I go in and I'm very nervous because I feel like 2 experienced people before me pass out. Like, I'm new, I'm novice. I don't have any experience. I haven't been exposed to anything. And here we go. So I'm standing there in the back and the surgeon was like, why are you back there? You need to come up there. So they were doing a brain surgery. As they're doing the brain surgery, they're poking the patient. The patient is talking. I was very intrigued by that. Like, this is amazing. So I managed to stay upright and ask questions and partake in the surgery. Because the 2 people before me had passed out, I was able to do, it was a brain surgery, it was a septum surgery, and it was a hand contracture surgery. So now I get out of the VA, I get outside to catch the bus, I call my family, and they was like, what ER are you in? No faith at all, no faith. And I was like, I'm not in the ER, like, I made it, this is what happened. So I'm like, okay, so that is hurdle number 1. We are full thriving, we are doing clinicals, we are doing great. But I'm reading all the content, I'm studying, I'm doing everything, but my grades were not reflecting the effort that I was putting in. And I was always a great student and I could not understand like what was happening. So call down to the office and they're like, you're not getting the critical thinking. Like, critical thinking is something you have. It's not something that we can teach you. So
I've seen that. Now, I feel like that is something that you can't be taught. I think
I was taught because I didn't come in with it. Exactly. I was an associate's.
Exactly.
So, but I didn't know any better.
Right.
So now I'm studying harder. Grades are not still C's, like not really showing that I'm really doing all that I can. So one of the students was like, listen, stop reading all that they're telling you to read and like focus on the pictures, focus on the graphs, focus on the content that you need to know, like switch it up, do flashcards, like go to the study center, get the techniques. Okay, so we do that and we make just a little progress, just a little. And I was just like, I don't know. So now they asked me to come down to the office. I come down to the office and the dean at the time was like, I don't think nursing is for you. I think you should be a teacher. I ain't signed up for teaching. Like, that's not what I wanted to do. Passion is not in it. And I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I should be a teacher. Like, I go back to my dorm. I'm telling my family about it. And they're like, that is not what you signed up to do. And same student was like, okay, maybe we need to try something different. Like maybe like we need to the academic center. So at that point, I was dyslexic. I knew that there were, my spelling and different things that I couldn't do. But I went to it was a different, maybe as a skill center or something. And it was like, oh, you could look at this backwards. You could do all these things. So now I'm doing everything. Grades are still passing, but not good enough to where this semester I'm successful. Well, almost. There's a project. So we have to do this project. This project is a pass or fail. And it was writing a project about something that related to a patient in clinical. I did it. You give it to your assigned advisor. My advisor read it and they're like, oh, it's okay. But like, you need to tweak this, change this, do these things, and then you should be good. Well, that advisor had a surgery and then wind up being out. So now it's another person that I have to give it to. And they totally demolished it and gave me an F. And I was like, wait a minute, because now I got a B. Like, I work hard for that B. And it was like, oh, no, if you failed the project, you failed the class.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
So now I get called back down to the office again. But this time I'm so distraught that how could a pass or fail totally negate all the other work that I've put in? And I get down to the office and I'm there, but I'm not present. It's a glass office. I get in there, I sit down, and the dean is talking about like teaching again. Like, you should be a teacher. You would be really good as a teacher. And she's talking. And then I look up and security is in the office. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Because I'm the only one that looked like me. Did they already anticipate like I was going to show out or something? And that made me angry for 2 reasons. you didn't even feel that I could come down and you could have a conversation and you could present to me what you needed to present to me. But then you had security here, which already created a narrative before I even walked in. And while you didn't even say like, hey, I'm here, I have security, like I had to notice that the security was in the room by myself. And I very much so felt offended by that and was angry. I was very much angry. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just be a teacher. I don't want to teach nobody anything. Talked to some friends, thought about it. At the time, I had one child, and I was due any day, and had my second child. And my professor reached out to me and was like, you know, you should come back. You should do these things. I'm like, I don't know if I want to come back. But I still
wait a minute. So you didn't stay in school. You had
security. No, I got kicked out and had to wait a year.
Wait a year. Okay. All right.
I had to wait a year.
Okay. So now once you got kicked out and you had to wait a year, you were due with your next child, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So actually, excuse me, I skipped a year. I wasn't due any day yet. And I went back.
Let me ask you something before you get into that. Let me ask you, like, what was going through your head? I know that you said that you were angry, but what were the things that were going through your head? Did you think this is it? I'm never going to be a nurse. Like, what were you thinking?
Well, there were several things that I was thinking. One, like, I didn't have anyone to be like, hey, like, I hadn't have anyone that looked like me. All my classmates were of a different ethnicity. I never heard anyone say they've been pulled into office and persuade that they should switch majors. Like, there were a whole lot of things that were going on at the time I wasn't aware of because I was young. I was 21, 22. I didn't know. Like, that wasn't something like I would be like, hey, mom, like this happened today, to get that resource or that perspective. And I feel like there was that at that time. They were trying to detour me to not be a nurse, to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher, rather than providing resources and support to say, okay, so this student really is trying at this and navigating this. When I left, I was uncertain if I was going to go back at the time. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, me as a person, if I say I want to do X, you might as well just ask me what day it is, because it's going to happen. That there's no other option. So I took some courses, and when it was my turn to get back in, I was like, oh, it's on and popping.
So when you say that, if you say that you're going to do X, when you said that you were going to nursing school, you were going to become a nurse, you were going to do it. We don't know what the date is.
Listen, even if my family didn't support me, I was going to become a nurse.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that determination, because a lot of times what happens is people don't understand that. I'm laughing, and I can't even help for laughing, because my grandson just scooted something up under the door because he wants to talk to me. But anyway, coming back to the conversation. But the thing is that you have to have belief in the thing that you want to do. If you don't have belief in the thing that you want to do, then it will never happen. And I love how you said, well, it's absolutely going to happen. So then when the lady came back to you, she was your professors?
Yeah, one of my professors was like, you should come back. So I came back. My grades were much better, and I contributed to a lot of things. At that point, in that 1 year, I worked as a hospital clinic in a hospital. So there was some hands-on knowledge. It was being around a lot of those nurses that were like, I was asking questions, and now they were starting to make sense. That critical thinking was now coming into play. I had a son at the time. I was married. So I was able to get those real world experiences in a clinical, in real life, and putting them together. So it just made me a better person. So that second time, it was like, listen, we're not going to keep doing this. So now I get in. I had B's that second year. We're good. We're golden. And we graduate. And we graduate, and we are excited, and we are proud. And I have my second son, and I was like, oh, I'm good. I got my associates, like blood, sweat, tears. I ain't going back. I have a little family. We just gonna work with this associates for the rest of our life, and we gonna be good. And
I just want everybody to notice that She didn't do that. Okay. She has a DMP behind her name. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us how that worked out.
So I think I had my son 3 days after graduation, and my professors were reaching out to me, and Dr. Argentine reached out to me like, you got to bring that baby up here. I need to see him. Now I know that was a trick. She was like, yeah, you should bring him on this date. We just started this new BSN program. Everybody's going to be there. Bring the baby so we can see the baby. So I bring the baby, and they are loving up on the baby. And they was like, we just started the BSN program. Don't you think you should join? And I was like, no, I don't want to join. She was like, I think it should be good. No. And she was like, I got my doctorate, and then, my husband's a doctor, and I got 3 kids, and, you should have your own identity. Yup. Not interested. No. And she was like, it'll be good. Now she holding the baby, and she was like, I see something in you. And I was like, yeah, not starting this BSN program is what you see. And somehow at 7:00, I was in this BSN program, breastfeeding my son. My professors, 2 of them bought my books. I called my mother, and I was like, I don't even know what happened. I'm in this BSN program. They like, don't worry about the dates on the syllabus. We understand you got 2 kids. We will work with you. So, okay, I go through the BSN and all the theory and all the things. And I was like, okay, we check this box. We're done. Okay, we're done. So now I'm working and on shared governance. And it's then I start to learn that the hospital was a business, but it's also still a hospital. So I'm just a little bit intrigued. And here comes Dr. A. I'm your mentor. I didn't even know what a mentor is. What's that? And she was like, I'm just going to guide you. And I don't want your guidance, because every time you talk to me, somehow we end back up in school, and we're talking about shared governance and all the things. And she was like, yeah, you should do this program. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. And then she was like, but the health department. So this is where, being young and naive, not everybody comes to the hospital. Not everybody has money. Not everybody has good living conditions. So now I'm with the health department, and she signs me up to do a full day ride along, to go out and check on CPS calls. We do restaurant checks for grading, for sanitation. My mind was blown that you could walk in someone's house and see the bottom outside and look up and see the sky. Like I had never seen anything like that. Different restaurants, like people just needing help and resources, especially in the rural areas. So now I sign up again to get my master's degree in nursing administration and leadership. And I was kind of telling some of the people where I worked at the time. I worked in the trauma center, and I was a float charge nurse. People were like, I love when you work with us, because you come in, you set the tone. It don't be no shenanigans going on our shift. Like, you is like, okay, you're the strong one. This person might, is might go down. Like, I put everybody where they need to be. And then they used to call me the cleanup kid. Never knew what it meant. But what I know now is that people, if I post something about, my early nursing days, people always like, I loved working with you because you were clear, you were transparent, you set the tone, you made sure to see who needed support and not, but we always had a smooth shift. And I was like, okay, nursing leadership is cool. So learning all these nursing leaderships, and then the finance courses. And now I'm like, oh yeah, now it's making sense. Now that critical thinking, it's all coming into play. So finish out the leadership program, and I realized that I really did love leadership. I love being able to be the person to steer the boat. And it's not always necessarily steering the boat from the front. It's sometimes steering the boat from the back, because you have some individuals that are really quiet, but they have the most amazing ideas, but they won't speak up. But if you're in the back, there's the opportunity for them to whisper to you, to say, hey, this, and this. Brilliant. Nobody is better than the other on a team, but the team collectively is good together, and it's not always the loud person. So now I'm like, I'm not going back. I'm for real this time. And she was like, okay, but I have my doctorate, and my husband is a doctor, and you got to have your own identity, and you have kids. And I'm like, okay, Dr. A, okay, because you done got me twice. Oh, I meant to tell you, at my graduation from my associates, my family came clean and said, we did not think you were going to be able to do this at all. We just didn't see it, but we wanted to support you. So,
well, I think that one thing needs to be mentioned that I appreciate Dr. A. Okay, because she was not like the previous person who kicked you out of school and was like, you go be a teacher, right?
Right.
Like that is, I appreciate people like her who come in and assist you in getting to what your goals are instead of limiting your belief about what you can do, because other people would have went and been a teacher. Like, what kind of
But
shenanigans?
even if you look at that, like it was me trying to get to the associates. Dr. A was talking about a DNP. She was like, you need to get your doctorate. What is that? The only person I knew with a doctorate at that time was her.
Well, I think that, I'm reading the book, Scaling, and one of the Secret to Scaling, I think is the name of it. But one of the things that he talks about is the fact that we always dream too low. And we've got to be very intentional about dreaming as high as we can in order to be able to scale even to close to where we want to be, right? Instead of wanting a $1 million year, we need to want a $10 million year. You know what I'm saying? And so I like that she never limited you to what other people thought, this other lady thought. And I liked your friends who kept supporting you and your family, right? And so, with all that support, which everybody doesn't have, it's important because there's no reason to limit anybody from doing anything. But I love that. So anyway, go ahead.
So I'm really done this time. I was like, I'm not going back. And she's telling me about it. And she was like, you should do this, but she has her PhD. I am not a researcher. Like that's not my thing. Like me, I want to understand what it is. I want to take it. I want to run. I want to get the play. I want to try it. If it fails, I don't say fail, but if it doesn't work, let's back up. Let's try it again. Let's relaunch, because now we know something that we didn't know when we started. And if we make some shifts and be innovative, it might be successful. And I'm okay with that. And then the pandemic hit and I don't know what, the world was closed. I guess I got bored. I'm not really sure, but I was really intrigued by like, oh, this DNP, like they take the information from the PhDs and they implement projects into the workplace and they do. And I'm like, that sounds fun. So I called Dr. A and I was like, she was like, I've been waiting for this call. I was like, she was like, I knew it. And I was like, okay, but let me really think about it. Like, why am I doing this? I will say for me, it was a personal goal because no one in my family had a master's at the time, let alone like a doctorate degree. And then it was like, well, what am I going to do with it? So the more I started to compare PhD, I crossed that off. I was like, that's not me. The DNP was interesting to me is because, all right, these is change makers. And I love a little shaking up the status quo and adding a little razzle dazzle. So, let's navigate this. So went to Duke, did my DNP. And what I found for me is the synergy of being with other people from other organizations and the ideas and other countries, because there were people in our class from other countries. We talked about a lot of different things. My project was focused on hypertension in a minority space. I'm a minority. I can relate to what happens in our community. It's like I constructed this project and it went amazingly well. I thought it would go well, but amazingly well. I asked the statistician, can you check that again just to make sure? And I enjoyed putting the pieces together, but what I enjoyed most is that I successfully created a project for individuals that look like me, where the consequences are through the roof, that was successful and it made change. And it wasn't a heavy lift. We hear that, cardiovascular disease, and we have all these things, and people want to come up with these ideas that are trying to solve for world hunger, where it doesn't even need to be. That may be over that population's head, but it put me in a driver's seat to be able to try different things, move outside of my comfort zone. I've been able to apply for grants. I did a hypertension project at the barbershop, at my local barbershop at that. So there are things that I can do outside of work to kind of gather that population. Everything doesn't have to be done at work. So for me, it was like I got the DNP, but it gave me that license to be creative outside of the worlds of institutions. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
I love that. And for those of you who don't know, DNP hasn't always been around. Like PhD and EDD has been around for a long time. However, DNP has not always been around. And so when I'm very much like Dr. Charmaine, when I found out that I could do a DNP and didn't have to go back and do no research, because that's not what we're going to be doing. Okay.
No, ma'am.
I was like this, and I still had to research. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day, and write a whole book and a whole dissertation. I mean, ain't nobody tell me about that. But of course, you know, when you're walking that line, one of the things that you have to understand is that, you know, for everybody to understand who is listening, is that when you're walking that line, one of the things you have to understand is that that line, when you get to the end of it, sometimes you don't know what that end looks like, but God has prepared you for everything that you get ready to go through. You know, and you know, the scripture says that all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose, and it's going to work together. And so that's the reason why, you know, the old lady who's kicked you out of the office with the security, her plans just did not work. He didn't say the weapons wouldn't form, but he said that they wouldn't prosper. Okay. And so they didn't prosper with you. And so I am so incredibly happy. Now you got out of school and you got your, after you got your DMP, and then you started a business where you do like cups and shirts and all of that.
Yes. So I love a good t-shirt with a saying on it. I love a good one. Like I don't give a ish today, or and that's it. Or one of my other favorites is I'm half hood, half holy. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so you always got to have a Brooklyn t-shirt on. But I love t-shirts, just I felt for me to express who I was. So it started off as wearing a shirt that said Black DNP by popular demand, because once I got my DNP, the world was going to know. And people was like, oh, I like that. Could you make me one? So then, you know, I was like, okay, let me change up the colors. And then I changed up the colors. Somebody was like, can I get one of those? Can I get one? So it really turned out to be self-expression for me. That was a hobby that then turned into a business, which is culturally by popular demand. And I mean, it took off. It took off to the point where it was like, let me try this. And that's another thing I will say. My DMP encouraged me and made me feel comfortable, if you want to say failing forward. Oh, I'm gonna try something. And if it don't work, guess what? It don't work. So it was like, oh, let me try and take some of these shirts and go to a local market and see what happened. And it sold out. And I was like, oh, well, let me throw some cups in there. And then that sold. And then it was like, okay, I think this is no longer a hobby because it's making money. So let me go ahead and turn this into a business idea. So, you know, we start that. I started to be, you know, that individual where people was like, hey, Dr. V, can you tell me about this? Can you help me with this? Can you do it? And then I was like, wait a minute.
I love though how you were going after your passion of just expressing yourself, and you fell into the business. Like It wasn't like this is what your goal and this is what you set out to do.
No,
you fell into the business. And one of the things that I like, and we talked about this because you're part of the inner circle. And one of the things that we talked about is you made how much over that one weekend?
10,000.
Was it 10,000? Was it 13,000?
Oh, I thought you were talking about my first weekend. No. The last weekend, yes, it was 13,000 over a weekend.
13,000 over a weekend. And it was, we did a Facebook ad strategy, right?
Correct.
And this is one thing about coaching, okay? And one of the things that I like about Dr. Charmaine, okay? Because whenever you're coaching, because we were talking about how much you needed to put into the ads, and she was like, what did you say about me? Dr. V's crazy.
Like, I don't want to do that. Like, why would I do that? And you was like, no, make your ad spend $100 a day. And I was like, why?
Because it was only 3 days, right? And so,
but like, I had never tried it before, which was fine. But I was like, you ain't want to start off at 10? Like, why you got to go? And then you like put it to the zip code. Dude, I was like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I compromised with her and was like, can we try it a little bit this way? Okay, I did it. I didn't do it on a scale from 0 to 10. I did it about 5. But then when you was like, is it working? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. But it was working because the ads were running. And every time you opened up your Facebook or Instagram, you saw where I was at my booth. And people that were not at the conference when I got in the elevator, she was like, I know exactly who you are. And I said, Dr. V, they working. They working because she ain't even here for the conference. She don't even know what's going on. But she said, I know where your booth is. So again, I will say the one thing that you said to me is that you have to be sometimes coachable and uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And while I gave you a side eye, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go all in, but I will do this and I do that. And then you see the value in it. And it was like, okay, not that I didn't know what you was talking about. I just was like, I don't know about this, but we did it nonetheless. And I think strategy is important for having those mentors and having those coaches, those blind spots where you just don't know because you don't know. They provide insight, or they provide a flashlight to say, I need you to go down this road. It's a little dark down there, but when you get to the other side, it will be rewardful.
I love that. And when you say the blind spot, so people say to me all the time, they used to say, the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. Mm-hmm. And so I can understand that, right? But you can't see the picture because you're in the picture, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't see the frame because you're in the picture. And so helped me to understand like the full scale of it, right? And so understanding that you are in it, so you can't see all this in it. But what I do appreciate about you is that you followed the lead, right? Like you did not follow the lead, you followed the lead. Even if you did it at 50%, like you did $50 a day, right? Am I correct?
Correct.
And so even if you did do that, you got back, $13,000. That's $150 ad spend for $13,000, right? So I think that's a fair trade-off, right? Correct. And so, I do appreciate that. Now, what is one of the things that you have done for organizations? Because you've helped organizations make like over $1 million. Am I correct about that?
$1 million is being generous. I would say one of my things when I realized what the cleanup kid meant was going to an organization in my first, it wasn't even 90 days. It might've been 30 days, identifying $100,000 mistake. Not one, but three. Wow. I have a good eye for logistics. I have a good eye for understanding the patient perspective, but how do we navigate that with the employer perspective? And then how do we navigate that with the team to keep them empowered? So I would say there are some changes that I have implemented that have stopped revenue leaks where $15,000 a week. You add that times that by 52 weeks. That's one change. One.
I want everybody, I really want the leaders in these organizations, especially in the, cardiology space, the primary medical space, even nurse practitioners, right? Like where you are, because a lot of nurse practitioners are starting their practice, and you're helping nurse practitioners as well with their practice. One of the things that we have to ensure that we're doing, and I don't know what happened to you.
I don't know what happened either. I didn't do not one thing. That's so weird.
But listen, okay. We'll just listen to you, okay? As long as we can hear you.
It said my camera unplugged. That's weird. Okay.
So the deal is that when you are in that space and you can't see everything, Dr. Charmaine coming in and helping you with that is incredibly important. So I love that. And so are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
All right.
I mean, can I say no?
Well, I mean, you could.
I don't know how that would turn out, but here I am. And my camera came back on. I'm not sure. It said I unplugged it. I didn't plug it back in. I promise.
That's too funny. Hilarious. So what has been one of the most rewarding things about nursing?
I think for me, I would say all of it. I've been a nurse for 20 years, and just the continuous learning, being able to take my ideas, my team's ideas, and put them into play and see them flourish into opportunities that are multifaceted, whether it's revenue, better process for the employees, better experience for the patients, better experiences for the providers. I think that would be it for me.
I love it. I love it. Now, what is the common misconception about nursing?
We rich.
Listen, everybody always says that. That is hilarious. And it's the truth because people think, well, really?
Oh, you a nurse. You got money. I do. I do. Tell me, what does one with money look like? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What are you reading now?
Dr. V, you know I have like 58 books in my work queue.
Just one.
The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle somebody is what I'm reading right now.
I love it. I love it. Now, what are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned in business?
That your work is not always your work, and it depends on how you set that up. The quick example I learned is that while as individuals, we create ideas, and you may be working for a business, that is not always your idea, and it doesn't stay your idea if you don't set it up. So you have to make sure that your intellectual property, you have to have that discussion before you start sharing your ideas, because you may have $1 million ideas that you share with organizations that then no longer become yours, and you make absolutely nothing off of it.
That's so good. That's so good. Now, who is a leader, living or dead, that you would like to have a conversation with?
Living or dead? I can't tell you, because if they're living, I reach out to people. I'm not shy at all.
We know, but who would you like to?
I'm trying to think, because I recently met with someone that I wanted to talk to when I went to Texas. Dr. Watson. She's a firecracker. I like that she shifts the status quo, but she's very gentle. And sometimes you see people that are loud, and they're in meetings and they're always speaking up, and they get all the attention. But Dr. Watson is very calm, chill, laid back, and very soft spoken, but her words, they grab your attention. Like, I want to know more. So I was able to, when I went down to Texas, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to her a month before, and I'm gonna, set something up. It did not happen. And
now, Dr. Watson, what's her first name?
Joni, Dr. Joni Watson.
Joni Watson. Okay.
It was like day 3. I was finished vending or presenting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never reached out to her. And I sent her a message. It was like, okay, don't be mad, don't panic. I forgot, but I remembered right now. Are you available tomorrow? And she absolutely was. And we were able to go to breakfast and just talk about innovation and nursing and lead and all those things that, I was able to pick her brain and see her in person. That was the first time I ever saw her in person. I've only seen her on Zooms or virtual capacity. So it was great.
Now, I don't know who she is. So who is she?
So she, professor at Duke, she's been a CEO at multiple places. She has her own business. She has a podcast. She has nursing education. The Creative Collective is her website. Like, she's just all things nursing, and she's multifaceted, which, surprise, I like that. And I'm drawn to her because it shows that, like, you have people that are in academia and everyone's like, oh, I only could teach, or I only could do this. But like, you can actually do it all if you set it up right, but you don't have to do it all and be burnt out.
Gotcha.
Which is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Love and Basketball.
That's one of my favorites too. I love it. How do you define success?
So success has to be defined by the individual, because what I learned is society's success is depicted by society, but the road to get to what they say is successful, it is always a moving target. It is not the same for everyone. It is also not a level playing field. For me, success looks like an idea that I am able to implement or follow through with, whether it's successful or not, because I tried it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with trying things and failing, but the success in that is that I tried. Many people are afraid to do anything if it's not perfect. And I will tell you, I used to be that person where if it was not perfect, I was not going to do it because it had to be perfect. But what I realized is that perfection is not, it's not a thing. Right. You will wear yourself out before you ever get started. Right. And not trying things, your ideas don't go anywhere. They don't help anyone at all.
Right. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's your life's motto?
My life's motto, do it scared.
I love it. I love it. Now, where can people find you?
On Instagram, I'm at Duckie Enterprise, and that is my consulting business. And then for my Culturally by Popular Demand, it's Culturally by Popular Demand on Instagram and on Facebook.
And how can they find your like your cups and your swag? How can they
that is on? So my website is charmaineduckie.com. And I was gonna say you can see the spelling of my name there. And then if you wanted to find as far as consulting, that's duckieenterprises.com.
I encourage everyone to go and follow Dr. Duckie. She is amazing. She has been a trailblazer from the gate. So just follow her, see where her journey is going, because this is only like the very beginning of this journey. Okay. The very beginning. And I'm incredibly proud of her. So again, we ask that you like, comment, share the video so that we can make sure the word is getting out about these amazing nurses that are coming in here. You ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.